They told you that life was a gamble. They told you that success was reserved for the lucky, the gifted, the chosen few. But I'm here to tell you something so powerful. It will bend the very rules you've been taught to obey. Act as if you cannot lose, not as if you might win, not as if you're trying your best, but as if the outcome has already been written in your favor, as if destiny has already signed your name in ink. Because here's the truth that most people never realize. Life doesn't reward the cautious, it rewards the convinced. Look back through history. Do you think Thomas Edison stayed up night after night in a dark lab because he believed he might invent the light bulb? No. He acted as though the light already existed in his mind, and his only job was to bring it to the world. Do you think Andrew Carnegie built an empire because he thought, maybe steel will work out? Absolutely not. He moved like a man who knew the world's infrastructure was his to command. That's the mindset that bends reality, a refusal to entertain defeat. This is not arrogance. This is not blind faith. This is a philosophy that rewires your mind to see only paths, never walls. When you act as if you cannot lose, you ignite something ancient in your brain, certainty. And certainty is magnetic. It draws resources, people, and opportunity to you. The world does not follow those who hesitate. It bends to those who stand unshaken. So let me ask you, how are you moving through your life? Are you walking with the heavy feet of doubt, glancing over your shoulder, waiting for something to go wrong? Or are you striding forward like a force of nature, knowing that even if the ground breaks beneath you, you'll learn to fly before you hit bottom? That's the difference. The timid wait for permission, the certain take the throne, and it starts in your mind. The mind is your battlefield. Every thought, every belief you carry is either building your empire or sabotaging your destiny. Most people walk around rehearsing defeat. They wake up thinking about what could go wrong. They speak with hesitation. They set small goals so they can avoid disappointment. But not you, not anymore. From this moment, you become the architect of unshakable confidence. This is where vision comes in. Vision is not just seeing what is. It's seeing what must be. Think of Walt Disney walking through acres of swampland in Florida, telling everyone he could see castles and magic kingdoms where others saw mud and mosquitoes. He acted not as if it might work, but as if it was inevitable. The result, a global empire of wonder that still pulls millions into its dream. But here's the critical piece: vision without action is fantasy. Action without certainty is chaos. But when vision and action are fused with the conviction that you cannot lose, the world doesn't just open doors, it builds them for you. Every failure becomes a detour, not a dead end. Every rejection becomes feedback, not defeat. And that's what separates the average from the unstoppable. The average person waits for clarity before they move. The unstoppable move and create clarity along the way. They act in the face of doubt, because doubt is nothing but static in the background of a determined mind. They don't need guarantees. They make guarantees to themselves. So today, I challenge you to kill the language of maybe, erase, and if, hopefully, replace them with when, must, and inevitable. Say it out loud: I cannot lose. Because when you start to believe that, when you start to move like that, you stop negotiating with fear. Fear loses its grip because you've already decided that the ending is yours. Understand this: the greatest victories are claimed long before the battle begins. They are claimed in the mind of the one who walks in convinced. The general who already sees the enemy retreating. The entrepreneur who already sees the product sold. The student who already sees the diploma framed. It's the inner film playing on repeat that writes the script for the outer world. So if you want your life to change, stop rehearsing defeat. Stop playing small. Stop giving fear a chair at your table. It's time to act as if the game is already yours. Move with intention. Speak with power. Decide with speed. And watch how life, your life, starts to reorganize itself around your conviction. And understand this: the world tests every claim you make. The moment you declare, I cannot lose, life will throw storms at you to see if you mean it. It will hand you setbacks, betrayals, and nights when nothing seems to work. Why? Because conviction without resistance is an illusion. Diamonds are created under pressure. Steel is forged in fire, and your belief, your unshakable faith in your ability to win, is no different. It has to be tempered. Think of Henry Ford. When he first dreamed of an automobile for the common man, the world laughed. Experts told him it couldn't be done. His own engineers tried to quit. But Ford didn't entertain their doubt because he wasn't asking for their permission. He was acting as if success was a foregone conclusion. Years later, the Model T changed the face of industry forever. The difference wasn't technology alone. It was the relentless certainty of a man who refused to think like a loser. This is what you must understand. Certainty does not mean you will never fail. It means your failures cannot define you. When you act as if you cannot lose, every setback becomes an instruction, every rejection becomes refinement. Edison's 10,000 attempts at the light bulb weren't failures. They were data points. He wasn't losing, he was eliminating what didn't work. That's what conviction does. It reframes everything that happens to you. The masses crumble because they misinterpret pain. They believe a setback is a verdict, but those who refuse to lose see something different. They see a step. When Abraham Lincoln lost election after election, when he was mocked and written off, he didn't crawl back into safety. He pressed forward. Why? Because he believed that his mission was bigger than any temporary defeat. That mindset is what carried him to the presidency and into history as one of the greatest leaders of all time. And let's be clear, this is not just about money, titles, or trophies. Acting as if you cannot lose is about identity. It's about carrying yourself in such a way that even the harshest winds cannot bend your spine. It's about waking up each morning with purpose written across your face, moving through your day with a rhythm that says, "Everything is working for me." People feel that energy before you even open your mouth. Opportunities sense it before they arrive. Here's why this matters so much. The world does not remember the cautious. The world remembers those who stepped forward when logic said to stop. The Wright brothers had no credentials, no funding, and no reason to believe they could make humanity fly. But they acted with a vision so strong it made gravity look negotiable. And now every jet soaring above your head is a monument to their conviction. But conviction is not a costume. It is not pretending to be confident. Acting as if you cannot lose is not arrogance. It's preparation meeting belief. It means studying when others are sleeping. It means sharpening your skills when nobody is watching. It means having so much clarity about where you are going that you do not waste energy on the trivial. Discipline is the backbone of this mindset. Without it, belief collapses into fantasy. Think of Andrew Carnegie again. Steel didn't make him wealthy. Discipline did. He was a man of systems, habits, and ruthless focus. He surrounded himself with people smarter than him, delegated with precision, and studied every detail of his business. Why? Because acting as if you cannot lose does not mean assuming things will fall into place. It means you become the person who makes them fall into place. So here is the challenge. When was the last time you moved with absolute certainty? When was the last time you made a decision without asking 100 opinions? The world respects decisiveness. The universe bends to clarity. And clarity comes when you stop questioning if you deserve to win and start behaving as though winning is the only logical outcome. Say this to yourself until it feels like bone. I do not negotiate with doubt. I do not submit to fear. My results are inevitable because I have decided they are. Repeat it. Own it. Live it. Because here's the secret. The human mind is a magnet. When you act as if you cannot lose, you radiate something rare, a kind of calm, commanding energy that others instinctively follow. Investors sense it. Teams rally behind it. Friends and strangers are drawn to it. It's the reason why leaders lead and followers follow. They aren't always the smartest or the fastest. They are the ones who dare to believe so fiercely that the world feels safer aligning with them. This is your power, and it's been waiting for you. But here's the thing. Most people think they need to wait until they feel ready to start. They believe they need more money, more connections, more proof before they can act. That's the biggest lie. Read history closely. The greatest movers didn't wait for certainty to knock on their door. They created it. Certainty is not something you find. It's something you decide. Andrew Carnegie didn't begin with a mountain of steel. He began as a poor Scottish immigrant with nothing but vision. Henry Ford didn't start with an army of engineers. He started with a stubborn belief that the ordinary man deserved mobility. Edison didn't have a blueprint for the light bulb. He had determination that would shame most modern entrepreneurs. The lesson: the world bends to those who are too committed to stop. You must internalize this. The clock is running, and hesitation is the silent thief. Every day you delay is a day someone else is out there claiming the opportunities you could have taken. Acting as if you cannot lose is not a reckless gamble. It's an urgent call to courage. It's standing at the edge of your fears and stepping forward anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision that fear does not get to drive. And when you act like you cannot lose, something extraordinary happens. Doors begin to open that were once invisible. People call this luck, but luck is nothing more than momentum meeting preparation. Do you think Walt Disney stumbled into success? No. He faced bankruptcy, skepticism, and failure multiple times. But each time he rebuilt, he imagined bigger, and he kept moving as if the dream was already real. That's why today his name is synonymous with wonder. This is the mindset shift you must make. Stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I never try?" The fear of failure is tiny compared to the regret of inaction, because the truth is, losing is not your enemy. Quitting is. Losing is data. Losing is education. Losing is momentum disguised as difficulty. Quitting, on the other hand, seals your fate, and people quit not because they lack ability, but because they never truly believed they could win. But you're about to be different. From this moment on, you carry yourself like a force that cannot be broken. You will walk into meetings with the posture of someone who already owns the outcome. You will work on your craft with the diligence of a master sculptor, chipping away every unnecessary doubt until only excellence remains. You will treat every challenge as a game to be played, not a mountain to fear. This is how leaders are built, not by waiting for the perfect time, but by stepping forward when everyone else is frozen. Think of Lincoln again. Think of Ford, Carnegie, Disney. Their victories were carved from uncertainty, not comfort. They acted before they had guarantees. They stepped into the unknown with conviction so strong it made others believe too. That is the essence of influence, when your certainty becomes contagious. And the ripple effect is real. When you live with this mindset, your circle begins to change. Doubters fall away because they cannot breathe in the atmosphere of boldness. Opportunities find you because they are drawn to decisive energy. People trust you because your confidence anchors them. The very act of believing you cannot lose reshapes the environment around you. Now ask yourself, where in your life are you hesitating? What decision are you postponing because you fear the cost? That hesitation is draining you. It's robbing your energy and dulling your instincts. If you want to change your life, you cannot tiptoe toward destiny. You have to sprint. That doesn't mean being reckless. It means being deliberate and fast. Speed is a habit of the successful. Decisions made in certainty carry a power that hesitation kills. Imagine yourself 1 year from now, acting as if you cannot lose. Imagine the projects finished, the risks taken, the people met, the victories claimed. The only thing between that vision and reality is the decision to move now. And here's the best part. Even if you stumble, even if the path twists, you'll still be further ahead than anyone standing still. So repeat this until it burns into your mind. The only failure is to stop. The only defeat is to quit. Everything else is forward motion. This is not a game of chance, it's a game of persistence. Those who believe deeply, move decisively, and refuse to shrink in the face of resistance eventually find themselves standing where others dared not tread. It's not because life is fair, it's because life rewards boldness. And if you still doubt this, look closer at the patterns of those who built legacies. They weren't born fearless, they forged fearlessness through movement. It's like a muscle. Every time you take action when your mind says, wait, that muscle grows. Every time you commit when others hesitate, that muscle strengthens. And soon, acting as if you cannot lose stops being a mindset and becomes your identity. Think about this. The greatest enemy of your future is not failure, it's comfort. Comfort whispers, stay here, it's safe. Comfort tells you to wait until the conditions are perfect, until the risk is minimal. But comfort is a slow poison. It numbs your ambition, dulls your instincts, and blinds you to the urgency of life. Look at the giants: Carnegie, Edison, Disney, Ford, Lincoln. They all had moments where the easy choice was to retreat. They could have chosen the path of least resistance, but they didn't. They knew that comfort and greatness cannot coexist. You must decide now which voice you'll listen to, the voice of fear or the voice of inevitability. When you walk into a room, when you face a challenge, when you chase a goal, your energy should say, this is already mine. Not because you're delusional, because you've decided to fight until it becomes true. That decision alone shifts everything. The body follows the mind. Your tone, your posture, your decisions, your habits, they all align with the belief you hold at your core. And don't think for a second that this is about ego. Acting as if you cannot lose is not about thinking you're better than others. It's about thinking differently about yourself. It's about refusing to see limitations as permanent. It's about accepting that setbacks are part of the story, not the end of it. It's about seeing opportunity where others see chaos. Remember this, resilience is not born in comfort, it's born in conflict. Steel doesn't strengthen without heat. A sailor doesn't learn in calm seas. Your life will test you, not to destroy you, but to sharpen you. When the challenges come, and they will, you have two options, shrink or expand. When you've decided you cannot lose, you expand. You take the hit, learn the lesson, and keep moving forward. Think of every great invention, every breakthrough, every empire built. They all carry the scars of resistance. Edison's laboratory burned down. Lincoln faced relentless defeat. Disney went bankrupt. Ford was ridiculed. Yet here we are, still speaking their names. Why? Because they acted like losing was temporary, like setbacks were steps, like the ending was already written. Your belief has to be just as loud, louder even. Because you live in a world filled with noise, doubt from friends, fear from family, cynicism from strangers. They'll project their limitations onto you not because they're cruel, but because they've surrendered to their own. Your job is not to argue, your job is to move. Every step forward silences the crowd. Every victory, no matter how small, rewires the people around you to believe more is possible. And here's the secret weapon, gratitude. Yes, gratitude, because acting as if you cannot lose is not only about the chase, it's about the appreciation of every inch gained. Gratitude turns even the smallest progress into fuel. It makes you resilient because you recognize value in every stage of the journey. When you are grateful for the lesson in failure, the weight of failure disappears. When you are grateful for the people who doubt you, their doubt becomes motivation. Gratitude keeps you grounded while your ambition keeps you rising. Picture yourself like a builder. Each day you lay a brick. Some days the bricks are heavy, the weather harsh, the progress slow. But brick by brick you rise. And one day those bricks form a fortress. That fortress is your character, your belief, your destiny. And when people ask how you built it, you'll smile because you know you simply acted as if it was already standing. This is why discipline is the twin of conviction. Belief alone is a spark, discipline is the oxygen. Without consistent action, even the strongest mindset fades. When you act as if you cannot lose, you don't pick and choose which days to show up. You show up every day because winners understand something losers never do. Momentum compounds. One small disciplined step, repeated daily, builds unstoppable force. Now ask yourself, what could you achieve if you stopped negotiating with your own doubts? What would your life look like if hesitation was banned, if fear was just background noise? What if you decided right now that nothing could stop you, not failure, not rejection, not time, not age? How different would tomorrow feel if you treated today as the proof of your inevitable victory? This is where your power lies, in decision, in action, in the unshakable belief that the outcome is already yours and you're just on the way to claim it. Now understand this clearly. Belief without motion is a dream, and motion without belief is chaos. But when the two collide, when you combine a mind convinced of victory with relentless forward motion, you become unstoppable. You are no longer a wanderer, you are a builder. You are no longer someone hoping for good fortune, you are a force creating it. And yet the greatest danger is this: the moment you pause to listen to doubt, you weaken your own creation. Doubt is clever. It disguises itself as logic, as being realistic. It tells you to wait until everything lines up. But everything never lines up. The stars rarely fall into perfect formation. Those who accomplish extraordinary things don't wait for the stars. They move under cloudy skies and trust that light will follow their footsteps. Consider the builders of empires: Lincoln, Edison, Carnegie, Disney, Ford. None of them had a straight path. Every single one faced ridicule, financial pressure, and moments of darkness. They were told nah more times than most people attempt anything. But what set them apart wasn't money, wasn't connections. It was a stubbornness to keep going as if the end result was inevitable. This is the philosophy you must breathe. When others quit, you continue. When others retreat, you advance. When others hide, you step into the light. Why? Because you've already decided the game belongs to you. And when your mind has chosen victory, obstacles become puzzles, not prisons. But let's talk about pressure. Acting as if you cannot lose will invite pressure into your life. It's easy to pretend confidence when nothing is at stake. It's harder when the stakes are real. But pressure is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. A diamond is just carbon until it's pressed beyond measure. That same force that crushes one man builds the legend of another. Do you want to be remembered? Then learn to love the weight. Learn to smile when the challenge feels impossible. Learn to hold your ground when others are shaking, because in those moments, something changes inside you. Your identity hardens into steel. Discipline is your ally here. When you act as if you cannot lose, you no longer ask, "Do I feel like it today?" You do the work anyway. You learn anyway. You grow anyway. You treat your word to yourself like law, and that is rare. Most people break promises to themselves without even blinking, but not you. Not now. You understand that the fastest way to kill confidence is to abandon your own commitments. And what about failure? People fear it like it's a predator, but when you truly adopt this mindset, failure is nothing more than a pause. It's a chapter, not the story. Edison didn't fail. He discovered 10,000 ways not to make a bulb. Disney didn't fail. He found new doors each time one shut. Carnegie didn't fail. He learned to pivot faster than his competition. Lincoln didn't fail. He kept campaigning until history could no longer ignore him. Your life will test you too. You'll lose money. You'll be misunderstood. You'll face rejection. Good. Let it happen. Each strike makes you sharper, faster, more precise. Each scar becomes proof that you're still in the fight. And people follow those with scars, not those who hid in safety. There's another thing: influence. When you act as if you cannot lose, others start to believe in you. Even before you succeed, confidence is contagious. Your posture, your language, your decisions radiate something powerful. People are drawn to certainty because it's rare. They will follow you, invest in you, open doors for you, because deep down, everyone is searching for someone who looks like they know the way. Be that person. But never confuse certainty with arrogance. The most dangerous mistake is thinking you're untouchable. Acting as if you cannot lose is not the same as thinking you cannot learn. Stay humble. Stay teachable. Stay grateful. Certainty gives you strength. Humility keeps you growing. The blend of the two, confidence without ego, is a force no one can match. And let's talk about adaptability. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology, markets, culture, all shifting. Those who cling rigidly to old maps get lost. Those who adapt survive. Acting as if you cannot lose doesn't mean you refuse to change. It means you believe so strongly in your ability to win that you'll change tactics 100 times if you must. The goal is fixed, but the path is flexible. Think of Ford again. The Model T was brilliant, but times changed, and those who failed to adapt disappeared. Or think of companies like Kodak, once giants, who thought they couldn't lose but confused arrogance for certainty and fell. The true winners act with conviction, but stay agile, always ready to learn, pivot, and reinvent. So the question is this: can you hold two ideas at once? Can you be so convinced of your outcome that you are fearless, yet so humble that you are teachable? That's the sweet spot. That's where greatness lies. Because the journey is long. The storms will come. The path will twist. But if you hold fast to this principle, if you rise each morning acting as if the game is already yours, you will create something that outlives you. A legacy. A name spoken with respect. A life that makes others believe more is possible. And when the world looks back, they won't say you were lucky. They'll say you were inevitable. But let's go even deeper, because to live as if you cannot lose is to live with a new relationship to time, risk, and fear. Most people act like time is a gentle stream, something that will always be there tomorrow. They postpone dreams, they stall on decisions, they live like they have endless seasons to plant seeds. But the truth, time is a blade. It cuts without warning. It spares no one. And those who win, those who build names worth remembering, are the ones who treat each hour like gold. Carnegie woke up early. Ford worked relentlessly. Edison pushed through nights that would have broken lesser men. They weren't working because they loved exhaustion. They were working because they understood time was the only resource they couldn't replace. When you act as if you cannot lose, you start valuing your hours like a king values his throne. You protect your focus. You cut the trivial. You stop giving energy to distractions, arguments, and people who drain your belief. And this will cost you. Make no mistake, living this way will separate you. You will lose friends who prefer comfort over growth. You will outgrow conversations that once entertained you. You will be misunderstood by those who can't see your vision. But that is the price of building something great. Comfort is cheap, conviction is expensive, and that cost is paid in isolation, in long nights, in battles no one else sees. But it's worth it, because on the other side is a life so full of meaning, others will wonder how you did it. Let's talk about fear. Fear is an echo from an older time, a leftover instinct meant to protect you from danger. But in today's world, fear doesn't just keep you safe, it keeps you small. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, they are illusions, phantoms with no teeth. And here's the truth, most of the things you fear will never happen, and the few that do, they're survivable. They're lessons, not tombstones. Lincoln feared public ridicule but stood on debate stages anyway. Disney feared financial ruin but bet everything again and again. Edison feared wasting his life but kept experimenting. Fear was present, yes, but they treated fear like background noise. They moved anyway. They acted anyway. Because action is the antidote to fear. And let me be blunt, no one will hand you permission. The world doesn't owe you clarity. It doesn't owe you fairness. You will have to carve your path with your own hands. And the only thing that will keep you swinging when your arms ache is this mindset, I cannot lose. That sentence is a shield. It's a hammer. It's the force that keeps you moving when the world says, "Enough." But here's the paradox. Acting as if you cannot lose also means you must learn to surrender, to release the need for instant results. Too many people quit because the harvest doesn't come fast enough. They plant seeds and dig them up the next morning to see if they've sprouted. Patience is part of the mindset. You are not here to win a race tomorrow. You are here to build a life that compounds. Think of a farmer. The soil doesn't care about your emotions. You plant, you water, you wait, and when the season turns, the crop arrives. Same with your dreams. You show up daily, whether inspired or tired, because you trust the process. And when you trust, when you truly believe that every action is a step toward the inevitable, the waiting becomes easier. The quiet days, the slow months, they're no longer threats, they're investments. And never forget, this journey is not just about you. Your decision to act as if you cannot lose will inspire people you may never meet. A single act of courage ripples outward. A single refusal to quit can become the story that lights another person's path. Edison didn't just invent, he gave the world a reason to believe in possibility. Disney didn't just build a park, he built childhoods for millions. Lincoln didn't just lead a country, he gave generations a model of resilience. So, understand the weight of what you carry. When you move with conviction, you give permission to others to do the same. When you rise, you lift. When you refuse to break, you show others they can bend without shattering. That is legacy. That is power. And what of failure's final mask? Criticism. It will come. The louder you become, the more the world will talk. Some will cheer, others will sneer. It's the price of visibility. But here is your answer to critics' results. You don't argue with doubters. You outlast them. You don't waste words, you build. You keep moving while they stay still, and eventually even they will have to admit you were right to believe. So now I ask you again, what would your life look like if you dropped every excuse? If you walked into every room as if your future was already decided? If you treated setbacks as setups and fear as fuel? The answer is simple. Your life would become extraordinary. And extraordinary is waiting. And now we come to the point where most people give up, the middle. The middle is the graveyard of dreams. It's where excitement fades, where results are slow, where the world seems to have forgotten you. At the start, the adrenaline is high. At the end, the victory is sweet. But the middle is quiet, lonely, and merciless. And it's here that acting as if you cannot lose becomes more than a mantra. It becomes your lifeline. Because the middle tests your patience and your faith. It whispers, you've come far enough. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares. And here is where the weak turn back. But you are not here to be weak. You are here to endure. The middle is where character is built. It's where persistence transforms from theory into blood and bone. And if you can stand tall in the middle, you will outlast almost everyone. Look at Edison again. The thousands of failed experiments. Those were his middle. Look at Lincoln. The string of political defeats. His middle. Look at Ford, struggling to keep his company alive. His middle. And Disney selling sketches for food, his middle. These were the long, uncertain stretches where the reward seemed invisible. But they kept moving because they had already decided, I cannot lose. The middle is also where the vision must be loudest. When you can't yet see the harvest, when the world is silent, you must be your own cheerleader. You must revisit your reasons, sharpen your focus, and remind yourself why you began. You must wake up each day with the same energy you had on day one, even when no one is clapping. Because the truth is, the applause always comes late. And here's another truth, the middle is where distractions are most dangerous. This is where the unnecessary tries to steal your attention. It's where doubt dresses up as opportunity. It's where fear tries to convince you that something easier would be better. This is when you must become ruthless with your focus. Cut out what drains you. Say no more than you say yes. Protect your energy like a vault. And let's be honest, you will have days where you feel nothing. No fire, no excitement, no progress. Those are the days that count the most. Because discipline is not built when you feel inspired. It's built when you don't. Winners show up regardless of mood because they understand that consistency is the parent of greatness. Think of Carnegie and his steel mills. Think of the endless meetings, the negotiations, the small daily decisions that turned raw metal into a fortune. That wasn't glamorous work. That wasn't fireworks. That was routine. Discipline and an unshakable vision. Acting as if you cannot lose is about showing up like that over and over because each day compounds. And here's the beauty: when you keep moving through the middle, momentum begins to work for you. The first steps are always the hardest, like pushing a boulder uphill. But eventually that same boulder becomes unstoppable. The effort you once had to force becomes automatic. The work becomes part of you. And when momentum takes over, that's when you feel unstoppable, not because the challenges are gone, but because you've grown bigger than them. But don't forget humility here. The middle will teach you that progress is not always straight. There will be detours. There will be unexpected turns. Acting as if you cannot lose does not mean denying reality. It means facing it boldly. It means adapting without losing sight of the goal. Like a sailor adjusting sails, you pivot, you correct, but you never stop moving toward the destination. And that's why resilience matters. Resilience is the invisible thread running through every great story. It's what kept Lincoln writing speeches after defeats, what kept Disney sketching after bankruptcies, what kept Ford inventing after ridicule. Resilience says, "I will not stop." And that phrase, quiet, steady, is more powerful than any roar. So as you move forward, prepare for the middle. Prepare for silence, for doubt, for days that test you. And when they come, smile, because those are the days that separate you. Those are the days when others quit. Those are the days that build giants. And when the middle finally breaks, when the first signs of victory appear, you'll realize something beautiful. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent alone. It was your refusal to quit. It was your decision to move as if you could not lose. And that decision will carry you farther than any single win ever could. And when you emerge from that middle, when you push through those long stretches of quiet work, you begin to notice something extraordinary. The world starts to bend toward you. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin to find you. The people who doubted you begin to listen. The doors that were closed begin to crack open. But it's not magic, it's momentum. It's the natural law that energy, consistency, and conviction create gravity. You've been pulling the future toward you brick by brick, and now it's moving in your direction. This is where most people get comfortable, but you cannot. Comfort is the enemy of the inevitable. It's tempting to ease up when you see signs of progress, to coast when you taste a little success. But this is the time to tighten your grip, to sharpen your edge. Because acting as if you cannot lose doesn't end when things start going well. It matters most when things are working. Success has a way of softening even the strongest minds if they forget the discipline that got them there. Think of Ford at the peak of his empire. He kept pushing, kept innovating, kept thinking ahead while others were still celebrating yesterday's wins. Think of Carnegie, who built not just wealth, but systems that outlived him. Or Disney, who refused to stop dreaming even after the world finally called him a genius. They understood something most never do. Momentum is fragile. The second you take your foot off the gas, the world starts to catch up. So now you must raise the stakes. Set bigger goals. Push harder. Not recklessly, but deliberately. When you believe you cannot lose, you stop thinking in terms of scarcity. You start thinking in terms of expansion. Your vision widens. You see opportunities others can't. Because you're not afraid to fail, you move into spaces that scare most people. You begin to play the game of life at a higher altitude, where the air is thinner but the view is breathtaking. But remember, expansion demands adaptability. The road will change. New challenges will appear. The markets shift. Technology evolves. People leave. Acting as if you cannot lose doesn't mean you ignore change. It means you embrace it as part of the game. The winners are not the ones who resist change. They're the ones who see change coming and use it. They pivot with grace because their confidence is rooted in themselves, not in circumstances. And this is critical. As you rise, your circle matters more than ever. When you were at the start, anyone could walk with you. But at higher levels, not everyone can breathe the same air. You must protect your focus. Surround yourself with those who think bigger, who push you, who challenge you to grow. Carnegie surrounded himself with the best minds. Ford worked with engineers who could think beyond his own genius. Disney partnered with people who could see magic where others saw problems. The people around you will either amplify your belief or erode it. Choose wisely. And here's another truth: the higher you go, the louder the noise. Praise will come, so will criticism. Neither can be trusted fully. If you let praise make you complacent, you stall. If you let criticism break you, you sink. So stay steady. Stay rooted in your mission. Because acting as if you cannot lose is not about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. This mindset also changes the way you see competition. When you know you cannot lose, you stop obsessing over rivals. You stop comparing yourself to every move someone else makes. Your focus turns inward to your growth, your craft, your journey. Because the only competitor who matters is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Everyone else is noise. And do not forget gratitude here. The higher you climb, the easier it is to forget where you started. But gratitude is what keeps you grounded. It's the reminder that every step forward was built on lessons, on people, on moments that shaped you. Gratitude doesn't make you soft, it makes you sharp. It keeps arrogance away and clarity close. It reminds you that the journey is bigger than one win, bigger than one season, bigger than you. And finally, understand this: the ultimate measure of acting as if you cannot lose is not just success, it's contribution. The greatest lives are not measured only by what they built, but by what they gave. Lincoln's victories were for a nation. Carnegie's libraries were for the world. Disney's dreams were for millions of families. True power is not hoarded, it is shared. The unstoppable are not selfish, they are builders of ladders for others to climb. So here's the challenge: what will your life look like when you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I succeed so big that others succeed because of me?" What happens when your vision is no longer just about your survival, but about your impact? That is where true fulfillment lies. That is where this mindset becomes unstoppable. And when you reach that level, the game changes. You're no longer just chasing goals, you are creating worlds. And in that space, losing isn't even part of the vocabulary. And now we arrive at the final truth, the truth that will separate the dreamers from the doers, the wishers from the warriors. Acting as if you cannot lose is not arrogance. It is not delusion. It is a quiet, unshakable faith that says, no matter what comes, I will not quit, I will not fold, and I will not hand over my future to fear. This is where the great ones live. Edison, who failed thousands of times until light conquered darkness. Lincoln, who rose after defeat to heal a nation. Ford, who believed in his vision even when bankers laughed. These were not people who had guarantees, they had grit. They had a voice inside that refused to accept loss as final. And that is the heart of this philosophy. Losses will come, mistakes will come, but they are chapters, not the book. Each setback is a teacher. Each failure is fuel. You must train your mind to welcome them as allies, because a mind that cannot be broken cannot be beaten. And a heart that refuses to stop will always find a way forward. So when the world tests you, and it will, don't shrink. When your plans collapse, don't panic. When the people you counted on walk away, don't curse them. Adjust, adapt, move. Because the game is not over until you decide it is over. Winners are not those who never fall. They are those who get up one more time than the world expected. And here's the secret. You have everything you need. You always did. The discipline, the focus, the vision, the fire. It is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for decision. The day you decide to act as if you cannot lose is the day your world begins to shift. Because when you walk like a winner, speak like a winner, think like a winner, the world has no choice but to treat you like one. Picture it: you wake up tomorrow with this mindset. Every word you speak carries conviction. Every action has purpose. You stop hesitating. You stop negotiating with fear. You start building with boldness. You feel the weight of your old limitations crack and fall away. This is the day you stop waiting and start creating. This is the day you turn pressure into power. And this mindset doesn't just change what you achieve. It changes who you become. You become the person others look to in times of chaos. You become the leader in the room, not because you demanded it, but because your certainty is contagious. People will follow your energy. Opportunities will follow your movement. Life will follow your belief. But don't stop there. Make it bigger than yourself. Take this mindset and pour it into others. Lift them, teach them, challenge them. Build something that outlives you. Because the true victory is not just to win. It's to build a legacy that keeps winning long after you're gone. And one day, when you look back, you will realize something profound. The secret was never the money, the titles, the applause. The secret was who you became when you refused to accept defeat. The secret was the unstoppable version of you that emerged when you said, "I will act as if I cannot lose." So today, right now, plant your feet. Straighten your spine. Speak it aloud if you must. I will not lose. I cannot lose. I am moving forward and nothing will stop me. Carry that into every room, every call, every deal, every dream. Let it become your rhythm, your instinct, your identity. Because the world does not belong to the timid. It belongs to those who decide. And once you decide to act as if you cannot lose, you've already won. And so, as this message comes to an end, remember this: you do not need perfect conditions. You do not need everyone to believe in you. And you do not need guarantees. What you need is the decision to move forward as if loss is not an option. Every day, carry yourself with the calm certainty that whatever happens, you will rise, you will learn, and you will win. When you wake up tomorrow, when you step into the world, let your posture, your thoughts, and your actions all speak the same language: unshakable belief. That belief is your shield, your fuel, your advantage. Say it to yourself: I cannot lose. Then go live it.